feel good today, so I'm excited about that. Today, I just wanted to talk briefly with you guys about suicide prevention. Suicide is something that I don't really speak on because it is sensitive, it's touchy, and nobody really likes hearing suicide. But I woke up feeling the need to touch bases on suicide, give a few facts, and just a little bit of how I feel about suicide. So, first things first, suicide is preventable. About 50 to 60% of people who attempt suicide, they reached out to someone before they did it, whether you notice the signs or not. Most times, people who commit suicide reach out for help. So, with suicide being the 10th leading cause of death in America, I'd say it's pretty big. Approximately every day, 121 people commit suicide, or one person commits suicide every 12 minutes. That's a lot. That is a lot to just think like, okay, well, I'm gonna go on about my day and knowing 121 people will die today because they committed suicide. That's sad. It's really sad to know that we live in a world where people just feel like they have no outlet. So some causes of suicide are, of course, we know mental illness, isolation, feeling like life is meaningless, drug and alcohol abuse. It's so many reasons people can commit suicide. Medical illness, just feeling like this isn't what you want. Life is just too hard. Just going through something, whether you lost a family member or anything like that. Suicide sometimes is people answer. It's not the answer, but for some people, that's the last resort. It's sad, but that's the life we live. So, the people who are at risk for suicide, I feel like we all are at risk because once I give you the list of people who's at risk for suicide, it's like, okay, I at least fall in one of them. So, first, I say teenagers and youth adults 15 to age 24 are at risk, as well as 60 and older. Youth suicide is definitely at a rise. It's definitely increasing. I don't know if I mentioned this, but white males, they are the leading cause of suicide in America. People who have family history of mental illness, people who have attempted suicide or have committed suicide, you are at risk. People who have medical illnesses, of course. People who are around people who talk about committing suicide. So basically, being subject to suicidal behavior. If you're around a person who basically talks about committing suicide, or they've tried to commit suicide around you, eventually, maybe, when you're going through something, you'll, feel like, I'm gonna commit suicide. So you're definitely at risk. If you've tried attempting suicide in the past, you are at a big risk of attempting suicide. So it's definitely a lot of risk factors that fall under suicide. Honestly, suicide, I feel like it's something that we should talk about. Like I said, we all know someone with who's committed suicide, or whether it's a celebrity, someone we care about, or just hearing about strangers committing suicide is something that we don't talk about, but it happens every day. I remember when I was going through a manic episode, and I had got hospitalized. And I didn't know the guy, but it touched me because I was being hospitalized because I was manic. And Senator Creedy, it was a situation on the news where him and his son had got into some type of altercation. They had took his son to the hospital, I guess for evaluation, and his son was released within 24 hours, I believe, or they turned him away because basically they didn't have beds, which is a big thing in hospitals. They send you home saying, you know, that you're okay to go home, or they may not have beds open to, you know, put you in the hospital, so they'll send you home, and you know, you never know what a person is going through, what a person may do. So I believe Creedy's son name was Gus. I'm not sure, don't quote me, but he had a altercation with Creedy's. I think he ended up stabbing him, something along those lines. It was something that was very it was bad, and he ended up committing suicide. And like I said, that touched me because I'm in the hospital for mental illness, and I'm just feeling like, you know, this is so relevant to my life. And at that point, I was just feeling like I needed to do more. I was reaching out, like I wanted to get in contact with Creedy's. Of course, like I said, when you're manic, you feel like superwoman. Like I just knew I was gonna talk to Creedy's. I just knew I was about to do something. I didn't do nothing much, but it touched me. It touched me deeply. And when I hear about committing suicide, people who commit suicide, it hits home because, you know, what I go through, knowing people and feeling for people who just feel like they don't have that outlet, they don't have support. Again, I'm a voice for the voiceless. Some people aren't able to do what I do. What I do helps me get through what I'm going through. So, you know, if everybody was able to do this, you know, maybe it wouldn't be so much suicide, or just find something or someone that can get your mind off of what you're going through. So, you know, I've had passive aggressive suicidal thoughts, and that's where you think about, you know, for me, I thought about dying. I'm, you know, going through stuff, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to live anymore. This is hard. You know, just feeling hopeless. That's passive aggressive. I never attempted or felt like, you know, I want to kill myself or acted on it. No, I didn't. But just those thoughts alone, just not wanting to live, I never had those thoughts. So for me to think like that, I took it upon myself. I called my parents. They came and got me and took me to the hospital. I stayed in the hospital for a few days until I got myself together, and was able to be home, you know, alone, because I didn't trust myself in that instant. And that's something that we have to do. We have to take it upon ourselves if we can to, you know, get help, seek help. And, you know, that's what I did. That's what I had to do. And honestly, you may think I'm crazy, but I absolutely love the hospital. It's like when I'm in the hospital, it's like I get away from life. Like, you're in the hospital, you can't leave off that floor, you eat, you sleep, you see therapists, psychiatrists, you have groups. It's very therapeutic, and it's like you don't have to worry about work, you don't have to worry about, you know, taking care of the kids, you don't have to worry about taking care of nothing but yourself. So you may look at it as like, oh, she's in I have to go to the crazy house or institution or whatever. No, this place is to help you. This place is for me, it's a place where I can get myself together, I can regroup, and I can go back into the world and, you know, offer more, you know, because I'm in my right state of mind, I'm feeling positive, and, you know, I'm recharged. So that's it. I just wanted to share that with you all. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, I'm open to it all. If there's something you want me to tackle in one of my upcoming videos, please let me know. Please subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.